5 from Manheim. Stevenson, 61 minutes, 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive. Ryan, 30 minutes from 95th. I-57, 29 minutes, I-80 to Merge, Bishopport, 35. Reagan tollway delays are from the Aurora toll to Eola and 59 in Naperville Road after a crash. That's traffic. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next, and your official Chicagoland weather forecast from our 1-hour heating and air conditioning weather center. Partly sunny and 55 today. Clear and 39 overnight. Partly sunny and 59 tomorrow. Currently 41. Next news at 8. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by On Target Radio. From firearms and Second Amendment rights to personal freedoms and government intrusions. Listen here Sunday nights at 9.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer.
This guy is the most biased reporter, NBC. I think CNN has more credibility than NBC does.
On AM 560.
Did you hear what I said? I said you have more credibility than this guy. And that's not saying much.
The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy, and by popular demand, and also because I think our next guest, PJ O'Rourke, will enjoy it, we played this yesterday, but it deserves a second airing. This commentary from a newsreader at Sky News Australia, recounting a local op-ed with a message to the kiddies, including the adults, the adults that behave like kids, when it comes to the end of the world. Think about the Socialist Spice Girls. Think about most of the Illinois congressional delegation. This commentary to them who are striking today, not for more money like Chicago public school teachers, but to save the world, to demand politicians do something, to ask the question, as Veruca Salt Thunberg did, how dare you?
To all the school kids going on strike for climate change, you're the first generation who've required air conditioning in every classroom. You want TV in every room, and your classes are all computerised. You spend all day and night on electronic devices. More than ever, you don't walk or ride bikes to school, but you arrive in caravans of private cars that choke suburban roads and worsen rush hour traffic. You're the biggest consumers of manufactured goods ever, and update perfectly good, expensive luxury items to stay trendy. Your entertainment comes from electric devices. Furthermore, the people driving your protests are the same people who insist on artificially inflating the population growth through immigration, which increases the need for energy, manufacturing and transport. The more people we have, the more forest and bushland we clear, the more of the environment that's destroyed. How about this? Tell your teachers to switch off the aircon. Walk or ride to school. Switch off your devices and read a book. Make a sandwich instead of buying manufactured fast food. No, none of this will happen because, the piece says, you're selfish, badly educated, virtue-signalling little turds inspired by the adults around you who crave a feeling of having a noble cause while they indulge themselves in Western luxury and unprecedented quality of life. The piece ends by saying, wake up, grow up and shut up.
I mean, I don't agree with every specific criticism, but I certainly do agree with the tone. For more on this, per his piece with a message to the woke walkers, we're pleased to be joined by noted humorist P.J. O'Rourke, H.L. Mencken Research Fellow at the Cato Institute, regular panelist on NPR's Wait, Wait, Don't Tell Me, New York Times bestselling author of many, many books, Parliament of Horrors, Give War a Chance. And P.J. O'Rourke, thanks so much for joining us.
Well, you are welcome, and thank you for that wonderful diatribe. I just wrote down "wake up, grow up, shut up" with a note to tell kids.
Yes, exactly.
My kids.
Be sure to yell at them too.
Sort of an update of Timothy Leary there, a bit of an 21st century updating of that.
Exactly.
Now, I've been reading you since college, and I've had this long-running love affair with your work, but I'm afraid now that has to come to an end because you're taking on people that cannot be taken on, and I don't want to be sent to the woke gulag by promoting your work. You're welcoming back the Puritanism as so practiced by the left, but I sense a hint or two of sarcasm.
Just maybe a hint or two, yeah. And I can't blame you for not wanting to go to the safe space that they're going to send us all to. But yeah, I mean, I just had a very interesting. I was down at the University of Virginia with my old friend Pat Oliphant, a wonderful editorial cartoonist, who's kind of lefty, and I'm kind of righty. But we've been good friends for 30 years. And Oliphant has given up his, he doesn't draw anymore, his eyesight, macular degeneration and so on. He's getting old. And I'd like to retire myself. And we were talking about, hey, we're of no use anymore because, like, the clowns have taken over the circus. I mean, bring back we were there to make fun of the ringmasters, the elephants, the trapeze artists, the high wire walkers. Now all we got is like the only thing left for us to do is to chase the clowns back into the tiny clown car.
You don't. They're making a parody impossible, is what you're suggesting.
Exactly. And then, just as I'm saying that, along comes the virtue signaling woke world, and suddenly we all have something to make fun of again. I am so thankful for to these kids.
And you mentioned in your article, to be woke is to maintain a state of mind where you're constantly and accurately alert to social injustice?
Yeah, which is, as I recall, is pretty much the definition of being 13, although all the social injustice was from dad and mom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we're the evil ones, because we want rules.
Well, yeah, you write that being woke is a parody of being born again. Instead of you're accepting Jesus, people like Jesus have to accept you.
Yes, because you see, Jesus, like a white male, dead white male. I mean, if you're a Christian, you don't believe so. But, it was very well connected, the apostles, the disciples, and a father, he had like the whole, his dad was really well connected.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Kind of ran the universe.
Right. No, I recall the stories. Yeah. Privilege, right. But here's the thing about it. It's all fun and games until you're the subject of the bigot baiting, and you're the instrument they're using to generate that solidarity and marginality that they so desire.
And you are so much more in danger. You and Amy are so much more in danger of that than I am, because one thing that these kids don't do is read, and I'm a print journalist.
You're safe.
Of course, that comes with its own set of problems because print journalism is like pretty much the deadest industry that you can imagine. We make Youngstown and Akron and Dayton and the rest of the and Detroit and the rest of the Rust Belt, look like Silicon Valley when it comes to print journalism. But anyway, yeah, you're safe from them having, or I'm safe from them having read anything I wrote, but they do still listen occasionally.
Yeah, no, that's an underappreciated upside of nobody reading anymore. I appreciate that.
It really is. You can say anything.
You just have to do it in print, right? There you go.
Yeah.
So where do you see this train going with conductors like Ocasio-Cortez and her cadre and newly woke Joe Biden?
Yeah, I know. Joe, go back to sleep.
I know. Even when he tried to attack Elizabeth Warren yesterday, my eyes rolled over.
I know.
It was so boring.
I love the fact that this is like the entire like sort of leading edge of the Democratic nomination race is being led by people who are older than I am, and I was around when mastodons and Nixon roamed the earth.
But here's the thing. As somebody who's given to a rhetorical flourish or two, you must appreciate the fabulists that are running for president on the Democrat side. We'll just stick there for now. The Elizabeth Warren's had a number of heroic tales that she tells about herself. None of them are true, but they're heroic nonetheless. Cory Booker has an imaginary friend. Joe Biden keeps telling stories about him and Corn Pop back in the hood, back in the day. So I mean, that's a lot of material there.
It really is. You know, they are doing they're doing a fabulous job. Yeah, Democrats seem to be operating on the thesis that nobody can lose to Trump, and by golly, they're going to find that nobody.
And what do you think about Elizabeth Warren, though, saying that she was fired from her teaching position because she was pregnant, and then it turns out, oh, that's not really what happened?
Yeah, well, you know, she has been known to slightly stretch the truth. But, gee, you know, politicians lying, my jaw drops.
Yeah.
You know, knock me over with a feather. It's what they do for a living, you know.
Are you...
It's when they tell the truth that things get scary.
Right. When they agree, when the two sides agree, that's the scariest of all.
Yeah, that's what I've always said, that bipartisan, the most frightening words in Washington, bipartisan consensus, because that's like when my doctor and my lawyer agree with my wife that I need help.
Now, I know you're still using papyrus and quill writing instruments, but in the era of big tech, what's your reaction to those, to sort of across the spectrum, that are railing against big tech, the social media platforms, from a variety of perspectives, one being censorship, the other just being too much market control?
Well, it is scary, you know. I mean, it's it is scary that about 3 or 4 of these firms, you know, control virtually everything that comes onto our screen. There is a little button kind of around on the back of the computer that I found the other day that when you hit it, it goes off. So that'd be one response to the scary techno giants. The other is, you know, when it comes down to this is a situation that will sort itself out by itself, although it may take some time and pain, because when it comes right down to it, a tech platform doesn't have that high a bar of entry. That is to say, you don't have to build a factory. It's not like competing with GM. You know, you don't have to build a factory, design a car, and all this. I mean, you just have to get like 6 nerds, you know, fresh out of computer programming school. You know, pay them minimum wage, promise them a lot of stock options, and you can create another platform. So I think that in the end, you know, the free market's a painful way of doing things, but in the end, it's effective.
All right. Well, we'll end there on that optimistic note. And by the way, my favorite line from your Puratism is Back piece at spectator.us. Japes at Tartufian can't begin anew. Or can begin anew, excuse me. There's just
that should send the little devils to the dictionary if they know what it is.
You know, if I've said this once, I've said it a million times. There are not enough Molière references in political and cultural commentary, and so I appreciate that.
True. It's a tragedy of our times.
PJ O'Rourke, H.L. Mencken Research Fellow at the Cato Institute, a regular panelist at NPR's Wait, Wait, Don't Tell Me, and New York Times bestselling author of so many books, Parliament of Horrors, Give War a Chance, Republican Party Reptile, and so on. Thanks so much for joining us, PJ. Appreciate it.
Oh, you're so welcome. It's good to talk to you guys.
Oh, you're the best. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
The stories you need